So we are going to get started. We have chock full of information tonight to be able to share with you. My name is Elizabeth Aloni. I'm with Schneps Media. Schneps Media is the largest local media company in the New York metro area. We publish over 80 newspapers, magazines, websites, webinars, podcasts, and events throughout Queens, Brooklyn, Manhattan, Staten Island, the Bronx, Westchester, Long Island, the East End, Philadelphia, and Palm Beach, Florida. And tonight we are thrilled to be here with you for this very important SONYMA Informational Webinar. And we're lucky to hear directly from a state of New York mortgage agency, SONYMA, representative regarding their mortgage programs. SONYMA programs provide excellent benefits for first-time home buyers. So let's get started. First, I'd like to introduce our panelists. I'm very thrilled to have with us Delphia Munoz. Delphia is the AVP Business Development Officer for the State of New York Mortgage Agency. Delphia, please tell our attendees a little bit about yourself.
Hi, good evening, everyone. And first and foremost, let me apologize for my puppy in the background in case you hear it. As Elizabeth said, those are the benefits of being a homeowner, right? But welcome, everyone. First and foremost, also, I'd like to thank you for taking time for your busy schedules to be with us tonight and to be able to learn some more about the amazing programs that are available for first-time homebuyers. I'm Delphia Munoz. I'm with the State of New York Mortgage Agency, SONYMA. My background is I've been in banking for over 30 years. I probably started about 2 years old. Working in banking as a loan officer, then went on to work with grants with the housing agency, and I've been fortunate and blessed enough to be with SONYMA for the last 7 years. It's a wonderful first-time homebuyer program, and I'm here to let you know that you have the ability and you're able to take those first steps towards homeownership if that's exactly what you want to do. So welcome and thank you again.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Next, please welcome Veronica Ferraro, AVP Community Lending Coordinator at Emigrant Mortgage Company. Welcome, Veronica. Please tell everyone about yourself.
Good evening, everyone. So it's so nice to be again with you guys and explain what an amazing program we have. And thank you so much, Matt. Thank you, Delphia. Thank you, Elizabeth, for putting this together. My name is Veronica Ferrero. I'm the VP of Community Lending Coordinator. I am responsible of reaching out to the community and helping the community understand about budgeting, about first-time home ownership, about credit, about all these great topics. So it is a pleasure to be here tonight, and hopefully this will be an amazing webinar that you will benefit. And obviously we would love to hear from you during and after and tomorrow. And thanks so much, and have a great evening, and make sure that you take notes. Okay, thank you.
Thanks so much. Next, please welcome Matthew Kaplan. Matthew is the Operations Manager for Housemaster Home Inspection. Matthew, please share a little about yourself and your place in the home buying journey.
So my name is Matt Kaplan. I've owned a franchise for home inspections. This is my 29th year. So it's a family business. We're a national company, and I like to help home buyers figure out what they're getting involved in, and when they should perform the home inspection, why they should be performing it, and how long it takes and what we check, what's visible on the inspection, and just give them a complete education. And that's what our job is to do, because most home inspectors try to get in and out, but we try to sit there with the customer and try to show them everything, the important concerns now, and budgeting down the road.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. We are very lucky to have 3 experts and kind people who are here to help us tonight, which is exciting. So I'm going to go ahead and share the PowerPoint, and we'll get started.
So again, thank you, everyone. I applaud you all for being here, for taking these first steps towards the path towards home ownership. So if you're looking to buy your first home, hopefully you'll consider SONYMA, which again is the State of New York Mortgage Agency. And SONYMA provides down payment assistance, below market interest rates, home renovation financing programs, If anyone on this call happens to be a veteran, first and foremost, let me say thank you so much for your service. We do have a special program for veterans, and all of our programs are available for 1 to 4 family homes, including co-ops and condos. So who are we? We've been around since 1970, and SONYMA's mission is to provide safe, affordable, and sustainable home ownership opportunities for low to moderate income households in New York State. So you can purchase anywhere in New York State, right? Anywhere from Staten Island all the way to the tip to Buffalo, to the Canada border, right? And it is primarily for first-time home buyers. So our definition of a first-time home buyer is someone who has not owned a primary home in the last 3 years. Maybe you owned something 4 or 5 years ago, but you sold it. For our purposes, you are still a first-time home buyer. And veterans don't have to be first-time home buyers. They could have owned something as shortly as a month ago. They just can't own anything else by the time that they close using a SONYMA loan. All of our programs are available through a network of participating lenders. I think at this time we have about 80 participating lenders. And of course, they're not all the same, but they vary. And one of our amazing lenders happens to be on with us tonight, which is Veronica Ferraro from Immigrants, and you'll hear a little bit about what they have to offer as well. You are able to see all of our participating lenders on the SONYMA website, which is sonyma.org. So we provide various mortgage programs, which again are primarily targeted for first-time home buyers in New York State. And some of our available programs are a low interest rate program, which is not the lowest interest rate, but it's named incorrectly, but it was one of our first programs. So I should say the 2 primary programs are our low interest rate program and our Achieving the Dream program. I think you have to tap it 1 or 2 more times to see the other programs. Thank you. Our Homes for Veterans program, we offer Habitat for Humanity. We offer a program called Give Us Credit 2 more times. And we also offer 2 renovation programs, which are our Remodel New York program and our Neighborhood Revitalization program. So our low interest rate program and our Achieving the Dream program, as I mentioned, are our 2 primary programs. Everything else we kind of call our add-ons. All of our programs have income limits and purchase price limits, right? So what differs from the low interest rate program and the Achieving the Dream are the income limits. The Homes for Veterans program it's a little like the VA program, with the exception that the VA program is strictly for the veteran and their spouse. Our Homes for Veterans program is for the veteran, National Guard, reservists, or active military, and their family members, right? So the veteran themselves don't even have to be on the mortgage as long as they're going to live in the property and they're going to be on title. The family member or the co-borrower gets the same benefit as the veteran does. We also do Habitat for Humanity, Give Us Credit, which I'll tell you a little bit more about as we go along. And again, as I mentioned, we offer 2 renovation programs in case you buy that dream home that needs repairs. So just to show you the difference, the Achieving the Dream program, if you're looking to purchase in the 5 boroughs as well as Rockland County, so SONYMA goes according to household size. So for our purposes, whatever the makeup of that home may be, whatever the dynamic may be, maybe it's a single parent and a child, that's considered a 2-person household, or perhaps it's a couple, or it's a couple and a child, or a single mom and a child, that's a 3-person household. So if you're looking to purchase in the 5 boroughs, the income limit for the Achieving the Dream program, and it's only a household size of 2, the income limit is $128,060. If it's a 3 or more person household, then the income limit is $149,400. As you see, we have higher income limits in Long Island because, again, it is a higher cost area. If it's a 1 or 2 person household, the income limit is $139,480. And for 3 or more person households, $162,730. And you'll also see the income limits for Westchester. Now, on our website, which again is sonyma.org, you will be able to see the income limits for all of the counties in the state. Our low interest rate program if it's again, if you're looking to purchase in the 5 boroughs or Rockland County and it's a 1 or 2 person household, the income limits are a little higher. It's $160,080, and if it's 3 or more person household, the income limit is $186,760. Now, with the low interest rate program, that interest rate is going to be a little higher than the Achieving the Dream program. But again, the income limits are higher as well. Long Island, you see the income limits in Westchester. And if you're looking to purchase in the 5 boroughs or Long Island, then a single family home cannot be more than $806,590. So that's the purchase price limit. 2-family home cannot be more than $1,032,790. 3-family home cannot exceed $1,248,340, and a 4-family home cannot exceed, sorry about that, $1,551,440. Again, SONYMA.org, our website, will tell you the purchase price limits for all of the counties throughout the state. So some of the benefits of SONYMA, right? SONYMA programs normally have a lower overall cost and payments compared to other traditional first-time homebuyer programs, including FHA. So SONYMA is a state program. FHA is a federal program. It's not a bad program, but you will have higher costs associated with an FHA program as opposed to the SONYMA program. We also offer flexible credit options. So I mentioned that we have a program called Give Us Credit. Give Us Credit was a program that we rolled out probably about 2.5 years ago, and it's a program that was designed to remove some of those barriers that exist in underserved markets and households of color. When we compared apples to apples, there was no reason why there was a higher declination rate in underserved markets, right? So we wanted to be able to eliminate, as I mentioned, some of those barriers. We wanted to be able to provide the opportunity for home ownership. So it has less restrictive guidelines, and it allows certain things that under regular mortgage programs usually is not allowed, right? So for instance, for any other mortgage program, including all of our other programs, we want to see that you have your down payment or part of your down payment saved, right? And usually it should be in a secured account for a period of over 3 months. With the Give Us Credit program, your down payment can actually be it can be borrowed from a family member. Hopefully, everyone has their down payment in a secure account, but this program also allows for what we call mattress money, right? It's money that you really can't account for. You keep it under your mattress. Like I said, hopefully it's really in a secure place, but it allows for that. This program also allows for the lack of credit. So perhaps you don't, normally the bank wants to see that you have a minimum FICO score, or what your credit score is. SONYMA doesn't normally rely on a FICO score. However, for most of our programs, we want to see that you have at least 3 credit lines, whether they be what they call traditional, which is on a credit report, or non-traditional, right? Such as you pay utilities on time, or you pay your cell phone bill, or car insurance on time. However, under the Give Us Credit program, if you have no credit, but you can demonstrate that you have paid your rent on time for the last 12 months, this program allows for that. This program allows for blemishes on your credit, right? We all know that life happens, right? We went through a terrible pandemic. Some people lost income, lost all kinds of, unfortunately, all kinds of things, and family members as well, unfortunately. So we understand that life happens. Again, we work with blemishes on your credit, we always want to see an explanation for any kind of blemish that may come up on your credit report. We understand too that family members sometimes pull their monies together to be able to pay for housing expenses. So we allow a certain percentage of that family member that's helping to be counted so that you could be able to qualify. So again, it has a lot of different nuances that I'm sure Veronica can tell you that are not the norm for regular mortgage programs. So some of the additional benefits of SONYMA is that with SONYMA, you need less of your own money out of your pocket to be able to move forward, right? SONYMA offers a down payment assistance. So we offer 3% of the purchase price up to $15,000, that although we call it a down payment assistance, you can actually use it for down payment or closing costs or a combination of both. Or normally, if you don't put down at least 20%, you will be paying something called private mortgage insurance, which is another amount that's added to your monthly mortgage payment. So with SONYMA's down payment assistance, you can even use our down payment assistance to be able to pay that once and eliminate it instead of having it on a monthly recurring basis, right? So the minimum that we normally give is $3,000, but if you happen to be in our Give Us Credit program, then the minimum we give is $7,500, but the maximum will always be $15,000. So I will tell you the way our down payment assistance program works is that if you stay in the home for 10 years, it's completely forgiven. You never have to repay that back. If you sell before 10 years and you make a profit, you may have to owe back a portion of that down payment assistance that we provided. So the best example that I can give you is that we gave someone $12,500. They sold in year 3 and they made a very nice profit and they only paid back $2,500. It is never meant to choke you or tie you down to having to have an enormous amount to pay back, because every time that you make a mortgage payment, a certain percentage of that we gave is forgiven. We do also offer right now, we have a down payment, a DPAL Plus program. It's a pilot program, which unfortunately right now is only available in Buffalo. Anyone who's living in Buffalo can purchase outside of Buffalo, or if you're looking to purchase in Buffalo. It gives up to $30,000 for down payment. Now that program, hopefully, and what I am being told, is that it will be rolled out to the rest of the state. When exactly, I'm not sure, but please stay updated with SONYMA, because when we do, we make an announcement and all of our lenders know when that happens. So we will definitely inform everyone of that amount. But for now, our down payment assistance is limited to $15,000. So if you're looking to purchase a home that's in need of repair, I know everyone sees HGTV or these, home remodeling shows, and everybody wants to, get that home and make it their dream home. Well, it is a possibility, right? But you say to me, okay, it's bad enough to come up with a down payment, right? Which is one of the reasons why SONYMA offers a down payment assistance, because we realize that paying the kind of rents that you pay nowadays and trying to save for a down payment is virtually impossible. That's the reason why SONYMA offers a down payment assistance, but we also offer something like a down payment assistance with our neighborhood revitalization program, which offers up to $20,000 to be able to purchase that home and fix it up, right? Because again, it's hard enough to come up with the down payment. How can you come up with the money to fix up a home? There's an old saying that says you buy the worst looking house in the best neighborhood. And that's all well and fine, but how am I going to be able to afford to fix that home if I can barely come up with the down payment? So that's why these programs exist, right? So the $20,000, it does have income restrictions. It can only be done under our Achieving the Dream program, so meaning up to those income limits. But that program, that $20,000 kind of works just like our down payment assistance. If you live in the property for 10 years, it's forgiven. You never have to repay that amount back. If you sell the house before 10 years, again, there's a portion that you will have to return. But again, it gave you the ability to be able to fix up that home. And that is, usually that $20,000 is in what we call necessary repairs. And that's something that Matt is great at. That's his forte, and he can explain that a lot better than I can. If that home, let's say you're purchasing that home that needs a lot of work, and maybe it needs $60,000 worth of work, right? So that $20,000 works like a grant. But that other $40,000 you can do through our Remodel New York program, which all these programs can be combined. That $40,000 will go into the mortgage. I can assure you that if you bought a home that needed repairs and then you tried to take out a loan to fix up a home, it's going to cost a lot more, much greater interest rate, and at a much shorter term, right? This again, goes into your mortgage. So it makes very little difference or a small difference in your monthly payment, but you're able to do the repairs that you want to do, all the necessary repairs to the home. So that gives you another option in today's market, and with the way the homes, the prices of the homes. Sometimes if you give yourself that option of maybe looking at a home that needs some repairs, some tender love and care, this gives you that option to be able to move forward and perhaps the area or the neighborhood that you desire. So SONYMA programs are designed to work well with any available grants or down payment assistance that may be available to you as a first-time home buyer, or that may be available in your community, right? We believe in layering the grants because that gives you a greater affordability, right? It's about you being able to have a monthly payment that you can sustain, that you're comfortable with, that's not choking you on a monthly basis, right? I mean, your first year, if you have to eat peanut butter and jelly for a little while, that's okay, but you don't want to have to do that for the remaining term of your mortgage, right? So that's the reason why we try to make the mortgage as affordable as possible, and the layering of grants is what helps you to do that. So you can use our down payment assistance. Veronica can also tell you there's other programs out there. There's a Homebuyer Dream program, which gives money towards down payment as well. SONYMA, again, we encourage that, and we allow the layering of grants in order to, because the more down payment you have, right, the more affordable your monthly mortgage payment is going to be. So, as I mentioned before, with SONYMA, homebuyers need less of their own money. So if you're looking to purchase a single family or two family, including condos, then we require that your minimum contribution be at least 1% into the transaction. If you're looking to purchase a co-op, a 3-family or a 4-family, then we require that you put at least 3% of your own funds into the transaction, right? And that is up to certain amounts, because I think up to a certain amount on a 3 to 4 family, you may need to put a little bit more down than the 3%, but the basic is 3%. So all of our programs require that you do homebuyer education, right? Homebuyer education can be done either online or through a nonprofit agency, right? Housing counseling agencies are wonderful at being able to offer this service to you. They are also the experts at being able to locate down payment assistance and any other grant that you may qualify for. So you have to be very mindful when you're looking to make this next step towards homeownership, right? As I mentioned, most lenders want to see a certain FICO score, want to see your credit is in place, right? So it's very important that if you're thinking, if this is seriously what you want to do, right? And I don't want anyone to be discouraged, because maybe it's not something you can do today or in the next couple of months, but with the right team in place and with all this education that hopefully you are getting, you can see that it is attainable, that it's something that you may not be able to do today, but maybe in a year from now, perhaps 2 years from now. Doesn't matter. As long as you're able to actually achieve that dream of homeownership, there's no greater feeling that you've been able to do it, right? So what I'm trying to say is also, this is not the time to start running your credit or having people run your credit all over the place, because that can drop your scores by 3 points each time you do that. So you need to be very mindful of that, right? It's great. I mean, I love shoes and I love to go shopping, but you know, they tell a million times, they ask you, oh, would you like, 20% or 30% off if you sign up for our credit card? No, it's not worth it, because at the end of the day, that may drop your scores down by 3 points, and that 3 points may be what stands between you and home ownership. So please be mindful. The good thing is, when you're going through homebuyer education through various housing counseling agencies, when they pull your credit, it's strictly for counseling purposes. So it does not affect your score, and they're able to show you everything that's there. Maybe you need to work on a part of your credit. Maybe, this is what tells you, okay, now I need to establish this or put these explanations together, right? They are also, again, the people who can hold your hand and explain from beginning to end what it's going to take realistically for you to be able to take those steps towards homeownership. So I encourage, again, we require it, but I encourage everyone, if possible, to do so as well. So how do I get started, right? You attend a homeownership counseling session, right, through again, the nonprofit, and you meet with your loan officer to get pre-approved, because you don't want to go out, look at homes, and fall in love with something that you really cannot afford, right? And most real estate agents, I would say 99.9% of realtors won't even take you out to look at a house, to see a home, unless you've been pre-approved. So that's where the experts, like Veronica from Immigrants, and many of our participating lenders can help you with that. So this is my information. Again, I am Dulcia Munoz. You know, we're here to help you achieve that dream of homeownership. My wish for all of you is that you are able to someday get that amazing feeling that you get the first time they hand you those keys to your home, because it's one of the best feelings ever. But again, it's about doing it in a safe, affordable, and sustainable manner, right? Because we all want to be able to achieve that dream of homeownership, but we don't want to have to lose it or give it back to the bank. So doing it in a safe, affordable, sustainable manner is really the best way to do it. I'm here if you have any questions. Thank you so much for your attention, and I wish you all well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was so, I wish I knew this before I bought my home. You know, there's really, everyone who's on here right now, what a blessing to have learned all of this information. So thank you. I will share your contact information again through the chat, and also via email tomorrow as well. So please do take advantage of being able to learn more. So what I'd like to do is talk a little bit now about, get a little bit to Matthew and find out, you know, what's the importance of an accurate home inspection? Where does what you do place itself in this process?
Well, I wanted to talk about how Dulcia was mentioning the SONYMA program first, about the HUD consulting, where they would, if they get this free money with the grant, they have to hire a HUD consultant, which is a go-between the borrower, the home buyer, and the contractor. So we would actually check on the work. And these home buyers that get the money, they don't have to put any kind of deposit down for the contractor. It has nothing to do with them laying out any money. They just hire the contractor, they start the work, and then they get paid from the SONYMA grant as they go, based on the finished work. So we would just check on that work, and that's the process with the SONYMA, the National Revitalization Program, and it's more of a health and safety type of program where you have detectors missing, you need railings for safety, there's trip hazards, there's water penetration, termite damage, leaky roof, all these things that need to be addressed that would be approved with this program. So that's, you know, the banking part of it. But now you asked about the home inspection.
It's important to be forced to look at that, because those are surprises that none of us can afford. I mean, that's a very serious proposition on a home if it's not in good working condition. Very different than upgrading a kitchen, is very different than some of those things you were just discussing. Right.
So talking about a home inspection, I try to give advice for home buyers when they're looking, they're searching, and in this market, it's, you know, very low inventory. There's slim pickings to find a property. So you want to make sure when you're looking at a house, you know, is the grading of the property, the slope of the land towards the house, because that may give you a problem with water penetration. And you should look at signs, musty smells in the basement, things like that, before you even hire a home inspector. So what we do as a home inspection company, we like the home buyer to attend. It takes about 2 to 3 hours for the inspection. We want to give a complete education to explain the positives and the weaknesses of the home. Mm-hmm. And we check the entire structure. That's your foundation walls, your beams and columns, outside, any retaining walls, driveway, garage. There are some ancillary services like pools and cesspools and different things like that, but we're focusing on the home right now, and your patios, your walkways, and you go in the attic. A good inspector will crawl around the attic. Even if there's no flooring, they'll crawl along the beams to check your framing, insulation, and ventilation. And they'll look for the roof leaks. They'll look for leak stains and look for possible asbestos, possible mold. And your inspector's not a environmental company, so they're going to look for signs of discoloration on the sheetrock, and they're going to look for actually if there's active water penetration and direct you in the right direction to figure out what's the cost. And remember, home inspectors don't give estimates. You want to hire a contractor to give an estimate, because if you have a roof that needs replacement, for the inspector to say, oh, you're looking at $8,000, we don't know who's doing the work. So you want to get 2 or 3 estimates to take the average on that. Okay. So
one of the attendees, Tiona said, home inspectors save your life.
yes. And you never want to have your home inspector give you advice on purchasing the property or not, because we have no idea what your down payment is, whether it's a good situation for you, because, some inspectors saying, oh, I'll change the windows when I can, but windows can be expensive. So it depends on where you are in your life. Are you a first-time home buyer? Yes, you are. Right? That's what we're talking right now. But you have to know where to put the money first. You have to know now, when you hire a home inspector, are you doing this after you sign the contract? No. You want to make sure when your offer is accepted, you get your inspector in before you sign a contract, because once you sign a contract, it's over. You own the house. All right. And then there's questions to ask the home inspector that you hire. Are you insured? Do you give any guarantees? What type of report am I getting? Are you with the Better Business Bureau? Do you have a good rating? How much experience do you have? So those are, pretty much questions to ask. And you want to get a nice computer report with pictures of any kind of concerns on the house, because the attorneys can go back and forth and say, oh, I see the picture. I see what they're talking about. It does help. It's not a wedding album, but it does make sense, some pictures, because if you have a toilet that's loose, the picture will not help you. You have to go by the written word. So what's not part of the home inspection, wood destroying insects, that's carpenter ants, carpenter bees, and termites. Those damage the wood. So we do that as part of a home inspection. It's an attachment in your home inspection report. So you want to make sure you have a home inspector that has qualifications to look for these types of creatures. Rodents, that's a different type of pest control. We're just focusing on what's damaging the wood. If we do see rodent,
let me ask you something. So what you just said was that some home inspectors do not include these, wood-eating insects or rodents as part of their home inspection. Is that what you said? Is that
true? Well, getting back to rodents. So let's say if we're in the attic and we see mouse traps and we see droppings, things like that, we of course point that out to hire a pest control company to take care of this. Talk to the seller about it. But yes, wood destroying insects, some inspectors don't report on it at all. They'll just say wood rot. They won't even mention that's a wood destroying insect because they don't have the schooling on that. Okay, so that's what it is. And then when you get your inspection, there's no perfect house. Even if it's brand new, there's always a concern. I've seen new construction where you have foundation cracking, leaks all over the place. So if you have an older home, that's good. You have a history. You have a history of the property that's there. It's been there. And if you're concerned about older equipment, you can always get yourself a home warranty before you move in. And they have great programs where you have protection. So you move in, 3 months later, your dishwasher goes, your refrigerator goes, your heating system goes. You don't have to replace that and come out of pocket. The company would do that for you. So if you're concerned about buying an older home with older equipment, that may be an option to you. All right. And then again, the other ancillaries, like I said, cesspools, we can do a non-invasive cesspool inspection. And I know on the SONYMA, on a vacant house, they have to do an open cesspool, which is more destructive, digging up and lifting the cover off of the cesspool, to look in to see where the condition is.
My neighborhood has cesspools. You want to know if yours is in good condition.
Yes,
but
yes.
It goes to show you really who you have as an inspector really does make a difference. So thank you for, now you've already educated us on what are the things we should ask before working with the home inspector to make sure that they will cover all those things. We'll get a report with pictures. They know what our, wood-eating insects are, because that can be very damaging. So those are some.
I left out one other one. Is a thing called the powder post beetle. So there's 4 creatures: carpenter bees, carpenter ants, termites, and powder post beetles. That's in really old homes.
Well, we don't want any of them. That's why
Yes.
we. Well, thank you. Thank you. You really, Matt, I mean, again, the experts make the difference. The experts make the difference. So, one of the things that Delphia was talking about right at the beginning of your home search, because I love to go out shopping, right? We all can't wait to look at the house. But what's the important thing is this discussion, obviously, about educating yourself, but about the pre-approval process. It used to be you could look at a house without being pre-approved, but now it's almost required. So can you tell us a little bit about, Veronica, can you tell us a little bit about the pre-approval process?
Sure. And again, Delphia and Matt, I love you guys. You guys give us so much information, and it's always a pleasure to work with you guys. So pre-approval. So don't confuse pre-approval with a pre-qualification. Some companies give you pre-qualification. Nowadays, that is not good enough for sellers and realtors. They want something that is very detailed, which is the pre-approval process. And sometimes you may not be ready for the pre-approval process. You may have to think, what is it that you need to fix or save money, or that's where a good lender is going to come into play. I've talked to many people and they're not ready for the pre-approval process. And we go over step by step as to what they need to do for that big time, which is a pre-approval process. So prior to starting that process, speak to your lender. It says, look, I'm not ready now. I need to save a little bit more money. I'm not ready now because my credit is not that good. I'm not ready now, but I want to talk. How many times I've talked to people and they said, oh, I called XYZ Bank and they told me that, well, when I'm ready to call them back, that's not the answer that you want to hear. You want to hear somebody who says, okay, let's talk now, in 2 months, in 3 months, in a year from now. That's my job. My job is to be there for you. So the pre-approval is going to be the credit. One of the biggest issues is credit. We want to make sure that you have built your credit, that you maybe have alternative credit, maybe stuff that is not showing on your credit report, but is so important, such as, do you have a history of rental? So if you're renting in whether it's a management company and you're paying your rent every month, that is gold. But SONYMA loves to see that you have a good rental history, and for 12 months, not in a private home, but in a complex. We want to see basically how to build your credit. That's my job, to help you how to build that credit. Do you have any errors on your credit? Have you inherited errors from maybe somebody in your family? Do we need to do that? So baby steps on your credit. We need to work on that. How is your credit score? Although SONYMA is not credit score driven, the mortgage insurance part, remember, anytime that you're putting less than 20% down, you're going to have that private mortgage insurance, and they base on how much you're putting down payment and what your credit scores are and what type of property you're buying. So the mortgage insurance is so important. If you have a 640 credit score, it's going to cost you a lot more than if you would have a 680 credit score. That difference in scores may cost you $150 per month. So my job is to tell you, okay, let's fix that credit score. Let's try and get it improved, that score. The income, who will be on the mortgage? Who is going to be on the title of the property? All those questions I'm going to be asking. Is your income going to change? How long you've had that income? Remember, SONYMA requires to see your current income, not your 2-year average. We want to see what your current income is today. Does my income qualify for these grants? That is very important to know. Your assets, where are you going to get the money for the down payment apart from the mattress money that we talked about? We're going to are you going to get grants? What type of grants you're going to be getting? Again, very, very important, those assets. A closing cost. Do I have enough money for my closing cost? Reserves. I always encourage everybody to have that reserves for that moment when you buy that home and the water heater goes. So the liabilities, what are your liabilities now? Will you be paying off some credit card debt to decrease your debt to income ratio. Very important to know too. The property, what type of property you're buying. So before you get to that pre-approval, there's all these tiny little steps that you need to take and speak to your lender to see if you are ready for that big step of the pre-approval. Because that's what I do. I encourage you to make sure that all those steps have been taken. And you may have to wait a little bit, maybe a couple of months until all the steps are ready. It's like, that cake. Do I have all my ingredients ready? This is exactly the same thing. Do I have all my ingredients to get pre-approved? And again, the property, there's a big difference if you're buying a co-op when it's closing cost, when you're buying a one family. Big difference. So that is something that I walk you through, and so you understand the difference in between the different types of closing cost.
So important, again, talking about working with an expert and working with someone who cares, because there's so many things that a regular person who's not involved in this on a regular basis wouldn't even know where to begin to ask or think about. And so to have someone, like yourself, who's so experienced and cares and can lead one through this, it really takes a lot of the fear away from it, because it can be, it's scary. It's the biggest investment of your life. And, you want to make sure that you have the right partners with you to help you make the right choices.
That's why they call me Mama Mortgage sometimes, because I'm like a mother. Hey, so did you have your dry cleaning ready? Did you eat today? Did you take your vitamins? That's what I do for a mortgage part. I really walk you through, and I don't let you give up. That's very, very important. Maybe this is not the right time, but you have to always have hopes that there is a home out there for you. And that's my job, to prepare you for that.
I love that. I love that. In speaking about that, I mean, both of you and Matt, great information, but can you share, I know you probably have a million of them, but can you share an experience with your clients in SONYMA? I know you have so many, but perhaps you can give us some of your experiences. And
So again, the team behind, starting with Delphia and the rest of the team of SONYMA, are the ones that make things happen, that they make dreams come true. They have amazing webinars on a weekly basis that help us understand how their programs work. And again, if Matt found something that property needs to fix, SONYMA will give you that money to fix it. It's amazing. Like if you're buying a house that needs a new roof, or it needs maybe new windows, that program that they have helps you for those unexpected things that you already know up front. So SONYMA, the Homebuyer Dream programs, they allow all these layers that you can put. So you can add all these grants and help you with the down payment and closing cost. But yeah, so I am the biggest fan of SONYMA. I've always thought that they have so much into the community to help it. They understand how the community and what the community needs. And as all first-time home buyers need that, to understand that there is a program out there for them.
And it is, again, I want to repeat, all of New York.
Yes, absolutely.
All of New York, all the boroughs, Long Island, Buffalo, everything in between, right? New York, it's SONYMA, right? So that's important to know. Fantastic. This has been incredibly eye-opening, and I have so many questions coming in. I'd love to be able to address some of the questions that our attendees have. So if that's okay, I will head over to our questions. So Samsung phone asked, can you help with Mitchellama co-op purchase? I don't know what Mitchellama is, but with the co-op, you did mention about how a co-op is different. But SONYMA does help with co-ops. What is different when you're dealing with a co-op versus a home?
So as a Mitchellama, if you already own a Mitchellama, you're already part of an ownership. So remember, SONYMA is a first-time home buyer program, so you cannot have owned a property in the last 3 years in order to qualify for this and all the other grants for first-time home buyers. So, I'm not sure if that answers your question, Dofia, do you want to talk a little bit more about it?
Right. So as Veronica said, Mitchell-Lama already is part of ownership, so you wouldn't qualify for SONYMA's program if you already own a Mitchell-Lama. However, if you're looking to purchase a co-op, 1 family all the way to 4 family or a condo, that's something that SONYMA, if you're a first-time homebuyer, can go forward with.
Great, thank you. SJ said, if you sell your home due to a divorce, are you considered a first-time home buyer, or do you have to wait 3 years?
So it depends, right? So for us, again, the explanation or what we consider a first-time home buyer is someone who has not had ownership interest and in their primary residence. So sometimes when you're going through a divorce, you may have moved out of that home. That home wasn't sold yet, right? But it hasn't been your primary home, your primary residence in the last 3 years. For our purposes, you're still a first-time home buyer. Okay, if you were living in the home, that's different, right? So again, for us, it's if it's your primary home in the last 3 years, and you cannot be on title on something else by the time that you close with SONYMA.
Got it. Okay, terrific. I know you addressed this before, but Kristen was asking the purchase price limit again for co-ops. And Kristen, we can also, it'll be in the, we'll send you a recording of this as well.
Right, the copy of it is, so if you're looking in the 5 boroughs, again, single family co-ops fall under that, and so do condos, cannot exceed $806,590, and that's in the 5 boroughs as well as Long Island.
Terrific, thank you. Tiona said, do you combine with other programs like NACA?
So it's very important to understand that if you are going for these grants, not every bank can give you these grants. So we apply on your behalf for these grants. And so it's very important to understand, and when you're shopping around, ask if this bank or this company has the ability to do these grants on your behalf. Because, for example, SONYMA has a list of specific banks that are approved to do these SONYMA loans. The same thing with the Homebuyer Dream program, the same thing with CHI, which is the Community Housing Innovation. So again, when you're dealing with a bank, ask them, what grants are you available? So sometimes a mortgage broker may not be able to offer these grants because they haven't been approved. It typically is through a bank that they can offer these grants. So yes, you can layer all these grants, if you qualify. But remember, each grant has their own different set of guidelines. And so it's very important. So it's like when I'm talking to somebody, I'm putting a puzzle together. Oh, you fit this one, but you don't fit this one. So you kind of have to go through all the motions to see which grant they can qualify for.
Okay, thank you. Nita wanted to know, how long do you need to be working for? What if you just got that new job? So how long do you have to be showing a certain income? How does that work when they look at, income for a household?
Well, under the SONYMA program, normally we want to see a 2-year history. However, if you've been in school, and you're a recent graduate, that counts because that was working towards your current job, right? Typically, we want to see at least 6 months to a year on that new job before we consider you eligible. Or let's say that you took a break, right? Maybe you stayed home to care for your child for a while, and you're returning back to the workforce after an absence. Normally, again, we want to see 6 months to a year on that job before we consider you eligible. But for the most part, we want to see a 2-year history.
Terrific, thank you. Iglesias wanted to know, what if you have a great amount of student loan debt? Can you still purchase a home? So many people who have that.
So student loans is still a very difficult topic because a lot of them are still deferred or furloughed. We need to see what the monthly payments are or will be, because if not, we have to use a percentage of those student loans. So some student loans are based on income. So they basically every year they look at your income and this is how you qualify. But it is very important that you reach out to the student loan companies to see what your monthly payments will be once it comes out of deferment or furlough. But unfortunately, we have to use this debt because we know that sooner or later, that student loan is going to start, the payment process. Correct, Sophia? Anything you want to add?
Right. Well, SONYMA, even if the payment is deferred or if the student loan is deferred, we're going to take 0.5%. We're going to take that into consideration, 0.5% of the balance as your payment. Unless you can get us something from the servicer that states what the actual payment is, even if it's zero, then that's what we will go by, but it has to be from the servicer. But if there's no payment at all, we're going to indebt you for 0.5% of the outstanding balance as your monthly payment.
Thank you. Thank you for that. We had a couple questions about, what if my husband is the homeowner and I'm not? I'm on the title, I'm on the deed, but I didn't, the loan and the mortgage is in his name. A few variations of that question. How do these programs look at marriage and homeownership?
So if, let's say your spouse owned the home and you were not on the mortgage and you were not on the title, then for us, you're a first-time home buyer, right? However, again, everything counts if you're on title, because remember, you can't be on title on anything else by the time that you close, or if you're on title and meaning and you're not a first-time home buyer. If that's your primary residence, right? And you're on title, then it has to be at least 3 years. But again, if your spouse owned the home, you're not on title, you're not on the mortgage, for us, you're a first-time home buyer.
Got it. Thank you. We have a question for Matt. Should new construction homes be inspected? Oh, you're on mute. He's so good at listening and putting himself on mute.
Yes. All right. So yes, we talked about that new construction earlier. It's a difficult inspection because you don't have a history. So operational wise, because typically builders give you a year guarantee, but we want to know what things are not finished. There may be some cracks in the foundation. Usually the basements, if there is one, there's unfinished areas. So we'll check all the appliances and see if things are hooked up right. Sometimes we can't check the dishwasher because all the paperwork's inside and nothing's hooked up yet. But you want to get the water and the electric turned on a new construction if it's not already turned on to inspect the house.
Okay. So yes, you should.
Yes. Yes, you can.
Elizabeth, I saw just flashed a question. Somebody said something about should they get a mortgage even if they're 69 years old? No, we cannot discriminate at all, and definitely based on age. So even if you're 70 and you apply for a 30-year mortgage, that's fine. So don't ever let age be something that stops you from achieving that dream of homeownership.
I love it. I love it. In regard to that, someone said, what if I receive Social Security and pension and have a great score rating and I've never owned a home? Does that fit in terms of income?
Veronica, do you want to take that?
That definitely. We take in consideration all your current income. So if your current income derives from Social Security and pension, and you can very well document it, we will use that to help you qualify. So we will use all sources of income. And again, we remember that we will use all the people that will be on the title of the mortgage, of the property, on the deed of the property. That income has to be used in order to help you qualify. If you're filing jointly, but only one person, if your husband is the one or the partner is going to be on the mortgage, but the other person doesn't want to be on the mortgage, we still have to use, because that's a joint tax return. So we have to use the income of both of you because you will both be living in the property. So, keep in mind that we need to know how many people will be living in the property, because that may help you with the income limits. And so it's definitely, those are the questions that I always ask. Who's going to be living in the property? And, how many people will be on the mortgage?
Well, I think, we could be here all night because there are so many amazing questions, and you're so generous with your time. But I do want to end on this one piece. Well, because I saw a couple of people mention this. I want to buy a home. I need help. I need coaching. I need a step-by-step. What do you recommend, Veronica?
I don't know of anybody. So, I'd be more than happy and honored to talk to you about the process, how to prepare. And it's not about, okay, I want to get pre-approval, I want to buy a home. There is a lot of different steps that you want to do. So my job is to ask you, what do you have a time frame? Do you have to get out of your rental situation? Do you have a lease? What's happening here? So definitely I will go over every step, your credit, your assets, your income, your employment, what type of property, everything that is to do with that, your desire of what type of property, where do you want to buy, what township, what are the taxes in that? I also give a lot of handouts to help you prepare for that situation. I give you like a little quiz that you can have and ask yourself, okay, where do I want to live? Do I want to live close to the train station? Do I want to live? And so these are little questions that are so important because you're going to have to live in that property for a long time. So I would be honored to help everybody and walk you through until you find that dream home, together with SONYMA, together with Matt, and make it happen.
I love it. And I did share Delphia and Veronica, your contact information in the chat, but call Veronica. Her number is 631-786-0898. Reach out to her. She's a coach. You heard her, Mama. She even is called. So what could be more comforting than that? But I want to thank the three of you, Matt, Delphia, phenomenal information from SONYMA, really life-changing for people. And Veronica, all the support that you give and all the help that you can give people. Really appreciate all three of you being here, spending your time, educating us, and offering a helping hand to help so many of us, achieve that dream of home ownership. So thank you to the three of you. And thank you so much to our attendees for joining us this evening. I hope you learned lots. I'm seeing tons of thank yous. It is our great pleasure. This has been recorded. We are going to be editing it. We will send you a recording so that you'll be able to get answers to many of the questions, but don't just leave it for that. Reach out to Veronica and Delphia and get the answers to some of your more intricate questions. They're happy to help you. So everyone have a great evening. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next webinar. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Thank you, Matt.
Good night.
Thank you,
Good
Delphia.
night.
Thank you, Elizabeth.